Hi everyone. Today we'll be meeting with Janthana K, dear friend and CEO, co-founder of Tapoly. We'll be talking about the gig economy worker business model, and hopefully you'll be able to see a little video. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm so excited to be with Janthana from Tapoly. Janthana and I know each other for a very long time. I remember going to a conference and Janthana said, Sabine, I know you. We need to talk. And we became best friends, I guess, since that moment, right, Janthana?
Yes, we are. Thank you so much, Sabine, for inviting me to this interview. It's my, honors and privilege to be here with you.
So tell us a little bit more about you, where you come from, why you moved into Insurtech and Tapoly.
Yes, where should I start? I think Tapoly started in 2016, and it came about at the back of my own personal experience of dealing with insurance. And I was so surprised by how backwards we are in terms of offering insurance, and also the whole end-to-end process. I thought, okay, this is an industry that I could add value. So I quit my banking job, investment banks to be precise, and start my own business to service the most difficult market, which everyone is trying to stay away from, which is micro insurances for micro businesses and freelancers.
So this is interesting, Janthana, because as you know, insurance is going through a transformation right now. And I guess your banking expertise should be so valuable for our industry to learn from, some of the more trading aspect of banking to make maybe our industry, which is highly risk averse, more welcoming potentially on other techniques from other sectors to be successful. What's your thought?
Yes, I think I have been able to leverage from my past experience to help me build better business, certainly in Insurtech. Obviously, I used to cover equity business, and the whole process is relatively automated, especially equity trading. Everything is electronics. The whole backend could be automatically replicate and so on, which is that process. The whole end-to-end automation is harder with insurance businesses, purely because there's too many players. The lack of joined up system, process, and people. Because if you look at, like the value chain of insurance, you've got brokers, individual brokers, which are completely independent from the system and the flow. And then you've got like intermediaries like MGA in between as well. And then, you may have insurance company and even reinsurance company, and trying to combine. And in most cases, especially Lloyd's of London market, you have a claim team that are completely separate company from the rest of the, value chain, trying to combine all of those into one single process is very difficult, because everyone got their own system, they got their own manual process, they got their own limitation, the data is not shared. The automation is make it so hard to offer some level of automation, and also to get level of automation, you need some sort of standardization as well. So, and as you know, with our insurance product, the same product may cover X risk, other may cover Y, for example. It's not like a 100% like-for-like comparison. So there would always be some variation out there, which make it harder for us to standardize the question set or other in terms of the policy. So therefore, the automation here could be obtained, but it's going to take a consolidation of players in one single platforms, I think. And that's what, if you look at investment banks, for example, Goldman Sachs did very well. They were one of very few or the first investment bank that built a mega systems for all their line of business. And, for that mean that they can have that joined up onboarding process across different product lines. They can have joined up more like operations, and they can have joined up, different trading and sales department for cross-selling and so on. So they are able to do that, and the automation could be made more robust and customer. It's possible then when you have like a join us system that can track every single transaction from every single sources. And that's exactly what is needed within the insurance space. And that's why, Tapoly have gone from being the, wanted to be a retail player as offering micro insurances to kind of moved up the chain, because we realize a lot of problems that we are facing is come from upstream, come from product development, it's come from, kind of a not join us system and process that technology could solve. But in order to do that, we nearly have to sit ourselves in between and say, look, this is a new alternative wholesaler platform that could connect you seamlessly, like customer direct to either brokers or to the platform straight to the underwriter. So that is basically the level of join up that we need to be able to make in order to make most of our kind of marginal profit that we will make from selling micro insurances.
It's time, for us to talk about, for sure, Tapoly. So why does the world need a Tapoly and a gig economy worker insurance proposition, or and a much more customer-centric SME proposition out there?
Yes. I think, Tapoly is very timely and is much needed purely because we are able to operate at a micro premium level that traditional player may not be interested in. So if you look at, like traditional insurance company that have high overhead costs for serving customer, trying for them to kind of going down the chain and serving micro businesses will be a little bit too difficult for them because they would not make money. Whereas we having that fully automated process where we use technology to drive our underwriting and pricing and the whole kind of quote and bind, it's easier for us to gain that economic of scale. It's easier for us to save costs. Even if like transaction is much lower than what traditional player would actually go for and after, and it's needed because someone needs to serve this customer.
Absolutely. So you just said somebody needs to sell and service that customer. So tell us a little bit more about your target customer. Who he or she is, what does she or he want, and how do you make them happy?
Yes, a lot of our gig workers, honestly, either like a sole trader or freelancers working by themselves, or a small micro businesses that need insurance to cover for. There's a core insurance product like employer liability for businesses that everyone must have, and then there's kind of like the essential like professional indemnity, public liability, and then some other add-on that may be relevant to their business activity and risk profile. So that is basically the type of insurance that we're offering to our customer. But our main target is micro businesses and freelancers, those that are underserved and it's difficult to make profit from.
And so it's interesting because one thing, working in Insurtech, which I learned over time, is when you work with large enterprises, they have existing customer base and existing customer segment they need to serve and continue to serve very well. However, when you look at the world we are going into, and you probably read quite a few of my blogs, which state that 68% of the working population in 2030 will be millennial and Gen Z, and a lot of us are going to be entrepreneurs. And so therefore, a lot of those new people may not want to work with businesses, for businesses, because they are looking for lifestyle. They are looking for, working for businesses more aligned to their purpose and values. And what you find is, as a result, is that the product and services which are available right now are not suited. And so therefore, that's the reason why we need Tapoly. We need the like of Janthana to actually build the product and services of your future, because often large companies do not have the time to focus on that. So when you look at building brands, what have you learned from your recent experience, of your past few years' experience around building a recognizable brand?
In terms of building brand, I think, like as a CEO, I really need to get myself out there exposed myself to press release, webinar, you name it, and trying to build myself as an expertise within the industry, showing our knowledge and what we can do in this space is important, I think. And of course, it's not something that you can do overnight. It's something that you can do over time. So you have to be a little bit patient, but certainly, you know, like having more focus on the your missions, you know, what exactly are you trying to do, and then having consistent in your message that you send people is also important, so that they don't people don't confuse you with you know, kind of different business, for example. So just having that clear focus about, oh, this is the business, this is what we do, and then constantly, you know, like repeat that message is, yes.
And that is true. It's key. It's very important. So when we look at business models, so business model aside, so what differentiates Tapoly from other gig economy workers propositions which are there? I would love, Janthana, if you can get us through that. And another question which comes to mind is, when we talk about the MGA model as well a lot. And so I would love if you could actually help our viewer understand what those choices, why Tapoly has made those choices in building your business.
Yes, I think to answer your first question, is how we differentiate ourselves from our peer. I think one, obviously we've got some, you know, competition in our space. There are some startups out there that are doing very similar product and have similar value proposition as us, but there may be some product differentiations. I think there's a few Insurtech out there that service the micro businesses and freelancers already, but some may be in the, you know, kind of offer motor insurance space, other may offer, you know, other line of business, for example, for this market segment. So product differentiation is one thing. The second part is obviously, you know, like maybe our approach. We approach it from the customer angle perspective. We look at customer profile and we say, you know, like, what do we need to do in order to get the relevant insurance to cover our customers' flexible lifestyle, and that means, you know, we have to do a lot of work, because if you want to cover customer lifestyle, you actually need to expand your product range. You know, you need to expand your list of carrier, and that is very time consuming and costly for us to do. And, you know, and that's something that Tapoly have been spending. We spend a lot of time in building products, to be honest. We focus on that. So I think the next stage, we now got the product and the list of insurance company that we work with that could offer, you know, good products. So we now at the stage where, okay, we're building the system, we're building the product, we have all the license, and we, you know, got all these wonderful partners. The next stage is to grow our business. This is where we are growing our business, 2021 and 2, and we are raising money in order to do that, because you can't acquire customer and serve customer without additional funding. So that is, you know, like something that we are currently looking to.
So you are raising funding and you are actually promoting a business model, which is, I think, quite unique as well.
Yes.
So what has been your investment journey as a female founder, Janthana?
Yes, obviously being female founder, I think we are not having an easy life, certainly. You know, it is hard to raise money in this time. We literally just come out of COVID, obviously, and that means that, you know, like a lot of people start now looking for alternative investment. So we are a good place to get those investment, but it's the timeline. I think with any kind of early stage company, we need to be sufficiently funded, and we need to make sure that we get enough cash, because that's what kills a business, is the cash flow, right? It's not the fact that they don't have good business. And this is something that we are kind of, you know, like going to be working really hard in the next couple of weeks. So yes, I'm quite excited, but whether being a female founder will actually make it harder, maybe there is something about that. I don't know whether the fact that, you know, like obviously this is first time founder as well as being female, and on top of that, you know, I don't have insurance experience to start. People may be varied slightly. And then, of course, serving micro insurances, the margin is lower at the beginning. So it takes time to build the level of volumes that everyone wants to see. And with, like today's situations where all the investment, they prefer to either invest in a more mature stage, later stage, because there were a lot of early stage company that either go bankrupt during the COVID-19, for example. So I understand from the, the investor side, they need to be careful with where they place their money. So hopefully we can prove to them that we are one of the viable insurance platform that they should invest in.
Exactly, absolutely, and there's a big need, right? There's a massive gap for young businesses to get their appropriate insurance. And when you look at even the statistic around just the United Kingdom, 70% of the working businesses are small businesses. So it's something one should not forget. Partly as we all look for more than potentially have one job, which takes me to my next questions. When you look at the gig worker, a lot of our gig worker are people who are working on a job and then working maybe on two other jobs. And I think it is what is happening now across the portfolio. People will need insurance for, sitting on boards as well whilst doing a day job. So how do you approach that at Tapoly?
Yes, I think usage-based insurance is something that is very relevant to the kind of flexible lifestyle that we have now. Usage insurance would allow individual customer to be able to buy insurance for the activities, and that solves some of the problem where you put a customer into a group or a bracket and expecting them to perform within that the definition of the professions. Whereas if we were to offer usage-based insurance, we would insure them by the activity. So it doesn't, it means there's a one-to-one mapping relationship with what they do, and the risk is more accurate. Because otherwise you may find that gig workers may do 3 different jobs that have completely different risk profile, and it's very hard to buy, a cover that cover all of those 3 risks. Right, so offer that kind of on-demand usage-based by activity will help the insured, because they would be fully covered, but also help us as well, so that we know what risk we are taking, as opposed to getting a surprise where customer claiming something that for the activity that obviously is not covered by the policy.
Yeah, so I think it's very also important for anyone going to listen to the discussion to understand that insurance is based on activity, and it's very important to be really clear that you can't just put everything into one single umbrella, because different activities have different risk profiles. And it's really good to find an environment platform where you can today be a director of a company and the next day an advisor on another company, and actually get your D&O as much as you can go get your liability insurance in one single environment, but still have some level of flexibility around that, the way this is priced.
Yeah. Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about the team. I think you have a wonderful team. You have spent a lot of time acquiring your talent, and it would be great to hear your philosophy around talent acquisition and growth.
Yes. I think, in terms of our team, we choose our team based on 2 aspects, but I choose my co-founder based on 3 aspects. So I start with my co-founder first. I think with co-founder, I choose, of course, the skill was number 1. I look for, my co-founder have the right skill to be able to add value to my company. And the second is, of course, the kind of work ethic or basic core value. Is he going to be working hard, or is he going to, taking a day off whenever he feel like uncomfortable. So the level of commitment, you know, you have to have like your co-founder is your rock. Basically, when you work together, you need someone who can rely on, right? So the level of commitment that you need from your co-founder is going to be equal to your own as a founder of the company. And then the third aspect, of course, financial. So I want someone who can financially support the business, because I will put a lot of financial support to the business. I want someone who can equally does that. So there's kind of three aspects that I'm looking for. And I think I was introduced to my co-founder Sam through one of our friends, and luckily he got all of those three. He ticked all of my boxes, and including he's also, you know, kind of in many ways easy to please as a co-founder. We rarely have any argument, to be honest. There are which often may happen, you know, and that cause a breakup of early stage companies. Founder doesn't get along for some reason, and we always, you know, we don't always agree on everything, but when we disagree, we always find a way to reasonably talk to each other and solve our disagreement. So that's the whole point. You know, we work well as a team, and we match each other in terms of our strengths and weaknesses.
So it's very important what you highlighted around finding your true co-founders, because, you know, you are going to sweat a lot, right? So you are going to put a lot of your time, efforts into a business, and your expectation is not to tell other people what to do, but to actually find people who will say proactively go and do the job, right? Because you are co-founders, and so you're not having one superior activity over the other. Yeah. I think the other things which actually you highlighted, which have highlighted to other startups in the past, is, you know, as you are investing time, resource, effort into building your venture, you need to find people who actually align to understanding how ventures are being built, because there is a financial commitment. You are not going to earn money for a little bit of time, potentially, and you are going to spend your own money. So everybody needs to equally invest. Otherwise, this is the best way to kill a business, or to lose the interest from one of the co-founder putting more sweat into the project than others. So those are very important baseline to understand it. And usually entrepreneurs and you know, people who have built businesses before know that is part of 101 unwritten rules of building businesses, I guess.
Yes. And of course, you know, our team, you know, when it's come to our team, we don't always go for experience, purely because, you know, like the cost of hiring experience is going to be higher than talents. So we go for talent that we know we can coach and teach, which often, you know, work really well, of course. And that means, you know, like we can really teach them our way, so they don't pick up like kind of bad habits elsewhere.
Yeah, you know, I so much enjoy that statement. You know, I mean, for the work I did from the past 5 years and my most unique experiences and the people and the friend I've built during the past 5 years, you're right, talent first. You know, people have gone to doing amazing jobs after doing the accelerator, and this is based on their own merit and skills. And building a team is hard, but when you find the people able to build that A team with you, it's joy. It's just every day you wake up, you can't wait to see them, and then every night you go home, you are happy to go home late. You know, with my former team, we used to spend a lot of time in this little Italian bar off Moorgate, and we used to have late nights just chatting for hours before going home. And so that is part of, you know, finding your talent and nurturing your talent.
Yes, I think having you know, like the culture that embrace everyone talent is important, and also, you know, finding your talents that have certain value. I look at their value more than the skills set. They have to have interest, of course, and they have to be relatively smart, clever, they can pick things up, but more importantly, they have their core value have to be kind of work hard and focus more on that deliverable as opposed to that what is in for them and reward. Because we start up, you know, like it's hard to give people like a high incentive, whereas, you know, our incentive is other part. We've got share options, we've got a flexible work-life balance, we've got fantastic mentoring program within our company, for example. Those are the benefits, and we treat our customer hopefully like a family, and when we're successful, we would be successful together. So I treat nearly every one of our staff as co-founders, if that makes sense.
And that is absolutely true. Again, another great practice, which I think we both learned from the VC culture, and how they teach a lot of US companies, teach their startups to recruit based on people's motivations and the care they have for others. And you have actually reflected that in what you just said, which echo a lot of what I've learned and heard from investors from all around the globe, actually. So it's interesting to hear that. So what would be the tips you would give to female founders wanting to join our sector and our practice area, which is called Insurtech?
I think you just have to take the leap of faith and start. That's for start, you know, like get over your fear and do it. Don't think about it. Because I know that when you start thinking about it, there will be hundreds of reasons why you're not to. And luckily, I was one of those people who blissfully unaware of difficulties that I will have to face. If I know how difficult it would be, I may think twice about getting into this. But I was not thinking, and that was a good thing for me. And once you get into our business, of course, just make sure that, you know, like you put enough effort into up your skill, because you're going to need it. You're going to need to solve your problem daily. I mean, we've got problems since day one, to be honest, and we kind of keep solving them, and then new problem keep appearing. But it's problem solving is what makes me great, and I enjoy doing it. And thirdly, you just enjoy doing it. Don't think too much about, you know, like the thing that doesn't happen, like financial outcome and things that may kind of take you away from focus on your business. Just love your business and do what you love every day, and that's you should get there eventually.
Do what you love every day. So it's a beautiful quote. Do what you love every day. You know, I remember my parents' generation, you know, when I started telling, oh, I'm going to move job, and they were frightened, horrified, because people stay for 25 years, 30 years in the same jobs. And so when they actually now realize that I need to do, still today, I'm not that young, but still today, I need to do what I believe in to actually drive value in the sector I care for. Hopefully they feel joyful. They said, at least Sabine is doing something that she feels worthy of doing. And, you know, as you said, when you wake up in the morning, the first things you do is think about what you love. And if we are privileged to be able to do that, because many people don't.
Yeah. By the way, Sabine, you don't look a day older than 25. So then you give me that, you know, I'm old and you're not. You look fabulous.
Thank you. But I'm definitely not 25.
Yeah, regardless, you know, women age well, I must say.
How lucky. We're aging well. And my husband is very proud to be married to me.
Yeah.
So another question for you. So what would be the growth prospect and the expansion for Tapoly? What is next for Tapoly for the year to come?
Yes, I mean, like this year, of course, you know, it's all about growing. So capital is what we are looking after. So our potential growth is linked to our ability to raise money. The more money we can raise, the more we can expand. And that's how it is. In the next 12 to 24 months, we're going to be focusing on expanding our business, both from the SaaS side. We now going to be focusing on the kind of SaaS aspect of it and build ecosystems where we've got, you know, like a book of fantastic MGA and either wholesaler broker that could help us with the distribution and service some of our customers, so that we can, you know, become the core technology company and offering that kind of alternative wholesaler platform for the incumbent as well as the kind of newcomer.
Do you think actually you raised two key points, which is I think the key point for the next 5 years, right? Building growth ecosystems, which is key part of where we are in insurance today. But can I ask you about embedded finance and embedding insurance as well? Where do you see these embedding of product and services and capabilities playing into what you do at Tapoly?
Well, it's extremely important, and it's linked to that, offering lifestyle. If you look at, a lot of banking apps, for example, they, like there's many banking app or banking services that include insurance as part of the package. Classic example is, for example, credit card company that include travel insurance, right? It's been done for many, many years now. It's nothing new, but we are talking about using other product that embedded into, like the financial ecosystems as well. And it makes perfect sense. If you like a company that provide credit facilities, you're going to want your customers being well protected, right? Whether it's their health or their life, whether it's their, like work, anything related to the companies, you want to protect your customer. So insurance is a very good mechanism to mitigate some of that risk, reduces the risk of customer going default, or, in financial difficulties, for example, you can have that insurance. Yes, and that's why I think, having that new embedded insurance product to someone else's service will be a very it would be future. If you look at, all these mobile phone, when you buy a mobile phone, it's come with insurance. First 3 months, you get free insurance, whether it's cyber and gadget insurance, right? So it's already there. It make the purchase, the consumer life much easier when all the services around them come with guarantee and insurance. Then they don't have to think too much about, okay, I have to get my own insurance for all my gadgets, because everything I bought is actually come with a guarantee and insurance for the least 3 to 5 years. So that's how I see it's going. It's going to be the burden of offering insurance would be less on the consumer from their personal line side and more on the company that provides services and products, I think. And of course, the commercial side, although individual may need to still source their insurance products, but I think the way we deliver the product will be simpler and easier. There will be a lot more kind of, data enrichment, alternative data source that we can use to automate some of the quote process. And then, of course, like the product, I think it would be more sophisticated, more flexible. That's how I see the emerging kind of product development within the insurance. It will get there, but it may take longer than we think because of this hard market that we are currently facing.
And when you look at the shape of a new product, what is interesting is, as you mentioned, the embedding within other products, it's also very important to make sure the customer remains safe. But yes, as we get lazier and lazier, touch button generation, we are expecting, for a lot of us may expect the insurance to be still clean. So, add your insurance. A bit like when you buy an Apple product, you can buy your warranty straight and get your device repaired if it gets broken. What I'm worried about, actually, Janthana, is how do we make sure that we do not exclude segments? So, we have a massive underserved market segment. So how would you address that segment in the future? And how do you embed sustainability in what you do as well at Tapoly?
Yes. Obviously, like your first question is a very good question. That's probably the question that we need to ask the underwriter or insurance company, because the risk is taken by them. So they need to be willing to offer insurance to even, like what they call the uninsured or the risk that nobody wants to take. So we need to have that kind of support from our insurance partner. Sustainability, I think, is with the market segment that we are currently serving. Obviously, if you look at, like the gig economy and the benefit that bring to the world, like the fact that people are sharing their assets, their gadgets, mean that, or even their properties, it means that is reduced, like the number of, for start, if we're talking about car sharing, fantastic example, pollution. It reduced the number of cars in the city, pollution could go down, for example, the cost would go down for everyone would benefit from it. The property sharing, and that also means that perhaps, we don't have to build so many properties because people can share and we can coexist in the same apartment, for example. And that again will help with, kind of the whole building and trying to keep all these forests where they should be kept and not extending our city further. And of course, like the whole ecosystem around sharing is very important. It's caused the waste. There's a lot of waste, right? Like when we don't have, and increasing the revenue job, allow people to be able to work remotely is important, because then you get people, the population in density may not be in the city now then, because people can move outside London, people can work, and be able to live in a more in a location where they can have work-life balance and cheaper and nicer. I mean, I would love to have my, summer house where I can work from south of France, for example, and stay there all year round, and having, like a fraction of the cost that I will have to pay here in London. Why would I not want that lifestyle? So, yes.
It's a nice lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a nice lifestyle.
It's sunny in France. Got very nice message from one of my colleagues with a nice swimming pool picture where he's relaxing. So in France, it was a bank holiday last week. But it was really nice to see that they had a beautiful sun. So why not, right? So we are talking about gig worker, which is also a transient worker and able to potentially work from another home, whilst because we are working with digital businesses today, and with remote working, that means that we may want or may be willing to able to work for 6 months of the year somewhere else, which means there are also great opportunity for insurance to adapt to a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
So more innovation coming to industry.
Yes.
So are there any last words you would want to leave with our audience, who actually hopefully will want to know how to build the business of the future and build adequate cultures as well?
Yes, I think building business for future, you just look at your own personal need. I think that's the best way to pick the right business. Is what exactly you think you need in your daily life that you haven't got, that you think other people will need as well. And then, like work your business plan around people's need and around your personal need, so that you have that passion to drive, because it will be hard setting up anything new. And especially when you're one of the first, where, there isn't a blueprint, you don't have that kind of use case where, like you can learn from. So you have to be the one that start the first step and make mistakes along the way.
Thank you, Janthana. Thank you so much for your time. A great discussion. Let's build the economy, products, services, and companies of the future. And thank you for doing that for many of us. We know it's a growing market and we need your services and your products. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
More and more people are becoming freelancers, working on short-term contracts with varying risk profiles. This global trend is set to continue, and all these workers will need insurance in the years ahead. But how do they fit into insurers' models? Existing work insurance is offered on an annual fixed limit basis, which isn't flexible enough for this new way of working. Tapoly provides the solution, with granular underwriting and risk analysis tools. Freelancers can sign up on our website, take insurance only when they need it, and pay as they go. We believe that insurance should be as seamless as possible, so we also work with the gig economy websites where freelancers find their contracts. By integrating with these platforms, we can provide personalized quotes to their members, or even insure the whole platform, providing maximum flexibility without compromising underwriting risk. Join the future of insurance with Tapoly. Insurance on tap.